Hey there, legal pagers. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so glad that many of you loved last week's episode on influencer responsibilities. So this week's episode, as promised from many of you asking, we are going to do a Q&A question and answer thing. I have never done an episode like this before, so it's uncharted territory for me. But I did want to make sure to answer some of the legal questions that you guys have surrounding this topic of giveaways and influencers online, especially since you all had some really, really good questions. So I polled you on my Instagram stories, and lots of you, I probably had about 100 different questions. I'm going to answer a select few of those here. Many of them were similar, so they will be answered in whole on this episode. Alrighty, I'm ready. So let's just dive in, legal pagers. You're listening to the Legal Paige podcast, where we chat about life and business with a legal twist. I'm Paige, attorney and photographer helping online businesses and creatives tackle their business dreams without breaking out in hives. No more legal mumbo jumbo. This podcast features simple, bite-sized advice that'll have you legally legit in no time. Are you ready? Let's get started. As a reminder, before we get into this episode, I am legally obligated to give my disclaimer. So I am an attorney, but I am not your attorney. All legal information I talk about on this episode is intended for the masses and a large variety of different businesses. I am only your attorney when you hire me and we sign an engagement letter for me to work specifically on your legal issues. Please feel free to seek out another attorney in your hometown if you need specific legal advice or contact me for more information. Alrighty, here's the episode, friends. Okay, so this episode, like I said, is different than many of the other Legal Paige podcast episodes that I've recorded in the past. I have never done a Q&A answer before. We have been able to kind of sift through all of your questions that you were all giving us on Instagram stories when we put this poll up. We had hundreds of people ask different legal questions surrounding the topics of influencer responsibility and giveaways and online businesses. And we had really, really good questions. Many of them were similar. And so we definitely made sure to boil those down into, one specific question. And I'll answer a lot of your questions within that Q&A. But we're going to do 10 of the best questions that I think would represent the whole of all of you asking on Instagram stories. So thank you all for submitting your questions. This episode, I'm excited. I'm nervous. It's going to kind of be, a grab bag here of you guys ask a question. I will share my thoughts. It's very unscripted. So let's just dive right into it. So the first question that someone asked is, are there ways to track shares in a legal manner? So my take on this is Instagram share. So when someone says in a giveaway, like this post and then share on your Instagram stories to enter to win. That's like a share that we're talking about here. Pretty much just on Instagram stories. I'm guessing you could also talk about shares, like sharing this in your own feed, posting it in your own feed. But lots of times nowadays, it's better, of course, because Instagram stories gets more audience traction for you to just ask people to share in their Instagram stories. Now, tracking in a legal manner depends, of course. I'm going to answer a lot of these questions with it depends, because it does depend on the situation and how the giveaway is ran and if it's a contest, if it is a sweepstakes. But the main thing you want to do is just make sure that you are keeping track of everything by documenting it. That is key. This is just in case you were to have to prove later on through some type of hard physical evidence that you did indeed run a legal giveaway. But when you ask people to share on their stories, it's hard to be able to track people. And this is because if you were to try to document this in some way, you'd either have to screenshot everyone to have actual physical evidence of them sharing on their account, with their Instagram handle up at the top. But you probably have to keep some type of tally or, spreadsheet document of everyone who shared as well. And it's really hard to be able to track people who have private accounts. That is why I suggest that your steps for entering in your actual Instagram captions include something that's simple, like follow me, like this post, comment below, because one, that's way easier for you to track and keep documentation for. And two, it doesn't get in the realm of private accounts and having to track those. For people that have a smaller following, it's easier to manually track shares, to track comments. But for people that have millions of followers and thousands of shares from people, I really, really cannot see how you can accurately and faithfully and legally track all of the shares. And this is specifically because of private accounts. And many of you had privately messaged me this in my DMs on Instagram when the whole giveaway thing was going down. You were like, well, they cannot track private account shares, so how is this even legal? And that's true. So when you have a private account, only your followers can see your story. So if you weren't following that private account, you wouldn't be able to accurately track that on your end. This is why you need to indicate somewhere in your posts that all shared content, in order to be counted and to have your entry be legit, you need to be on a public account so that the person, the sponsor, the influencer who's hosting the giveaway can accurately see your share. So you just want to be really, really clear with your audience on how to enter the giveaway. I have said this many times. It really boils down to that simple thing. Be truthful, be honest, and be very, very clear and conspicuous on how to enter to win the giveaway. So hopefully that was a good answer to that question. So that was the first one. Are there ways to track shares in a legal manner? Okay, now we are on to the second question. What can we do when there is an illegal giveaway? So as a consumer, it's important to do a few things. The very first thing you want to do is reach out to the person or company running the giveaway. You want to tell them, probably share all of your thoughts on how it is an illegal giveaway, probably link some sites like the FTC, maybe that state's consumer protection website, and just ask them hey, did you reach out to an attorney before you ran this giveaway? I've been listening a lot to XYZ on giveaways. I've read some blogs. I've listened to podcasts. You just, as the consumer, explain what your education stands from, where is that coming from? And then educate them in a very kind way on what's going on with this giveaway that you're running. See if they respond. They probably won't, but if they do, that's good. That means that they care and they really do intend to run a legit giveaway. And then if there are further issues down the road, so I've heard many different things over the past couple of weeks of different giveaways that have happened, and people are like, I'm definitely sure this is illegal. The one thing that we can do, of course, as consumers, you don't really want to file suit. That would be very challenging to do. And it's actually not something that people have a private right of action to. But what you can do is reach out to your state's consumer protection division. You can file a claim or a story to them, and then they will investigate it and decide if it is worthy for the state to press charges on that company or business that's running the giveaway. Likewise, you can also reach out to the FTC, let them know, and if it violates any FTC regulations, then the FTC will take action. Those are the two main state and federal agencies that are going to regulate these type of things. And I talked about that in last week, episode 40. I talked all about how we as consumers can do things. But the main thing is we just want to be proactive, right? You are the ones participating in these giveaways, so you want to make sure that you have a say. We do have a voice. We are constituents. We have the right to vote in this country. We want to be able to share, of course, that we are potentially getting conned or, deceived by different companies online, just like you would do if it was an actual big business down the street. I bet you are way more likely to say something about them to your local or state government than you would be to do for an online company, which is why it is important to do things for online companies and to say things if you do feel deceived or some type of fraud is going on. Okay, the third question is, are there restrictions for worldwide giveaways? Okay, straight out answer, yeah. There's like a lot of restrictions for worldwide giveaways. And I don't know all of them. I'm going to be very honest with you because that would be legit legal malpractice if I said, oh yeah, I knew all of them. There's just no way I could know all of them. Also, because I'm not like an attorney in every single country in the entire world, let alone in the entire United States. You just have to realize that every country has its own set of laws when it comes to giveaways. And then every state or province within that country likely has their own set of laws when it comes to giveaways. So like thousands of different laws here, you guys. The main thing I want to say is just it's really hard to run worldwide giveaways. It's honestly virtually impossible to run a very legit legal worldwide giveaway. For example, I know Quebec has like registration and approval requirements for giveaways because someone reached out to me and told me that, so that they like if you're a company and you do a giveaway, you have to go to the government and approve and get approval and all those things before you can publish your giveaway to the public. And then I know like Canada doesn't allow random selection sweepstakes. Like you have to have it be a contest in some way, shape, or form. So you definitely, if you're in Canada, a Canadian company, you want to reach out to a Canadian attorney that can help you with that. And then I know in many other countries, you can award a cash prize. Like it's not allowed at all. In lots of countries, you have to sometimes give the prizes to the recipient in the presence of their actual government agency. So you have to like go somewhere and like you both have to be there and you have to give it in like physical presence. I know in some countries, you just plain outright, they just ban games of chance. You guys, the list goes on and on and on. Thus, I just know worldwide sweepstakes are a bad idea. Don't do them. If you are running any type of giveaways, if you're a United States company, hopefully that is everyone tuning in. I know I have some Canadian listeners here, but a lot of you are consuming things from United States influencers. So limit your giveaways to the United States and then use the terms void where prohibited. That language is really important so that in certain states in the United States, it is void where, of course, they prohibit sweepstakes or this type of sweepstakes, so on and so forth. All right, the fourth question that someone asked, how do brand deals actually work? So I took this to meant like how are companies using influencers for sponsoring their products or their services? Okay, so this depends on the type of influencer and how many followers and engagement they have as an influencer. But really what ultimately happens is that brands reach out to influencers and ask them to sponsor their company. I've read through a few of these agreements to just consult with influencers on their options. A lot of times these companies, of course, have in-house counsel. And so their contracts are very much full of legal jargon and very confusing to like an average influencer who has no legal background. Those type of contracts are really scary. So sometimes it's always good if you're listening out there and you get these brand contracts, know that you have power because they want you to spread their, company or product to your audience. And so you have negotiating power and remember that you have that. And so it's wise to seek legal consult from an attorney that can, accurately advise you as to how you could negotiate that contract to better yourself, for one. But usually these brands ask you something like this. Please post 1 to 5 times in your feed, 1 to 5 times in your stories. You need to tag. They really like you posting in stories, like they like influencers talking about it in their stories, since there's way more engagement in Instagram stories now than in their posts. But you can negotiate, if you're an influencer listening in, you can negotiate whether you want it to be 1 time in your stories, 1 time in your feed every 30 days. And then, like I said, it really depends on the amount of followers and engagement they have. So someone with, say, 10,000 or more followers as kind of a micro influencer is probably going to get maybe $100 sponsorship, $500 sponsorship for 3 posts and 10 stories a month, say. I'm just throwing numbers out there because it really depends. It really, really depends on the company. It depends on how many influencers they have under their company. It depends on your influence with your audience and their engagement. But influencers who have millions of followers or even hundreds of thousands of followers, I know one in particular, I'm not going to state his or her name, but they have over 800,000 followers on Instagram. And I know for a fact that they have been paid $50,000 to $100,000 for a 6-month brand deal. That's a sponsorship opportunity. That's a lot of money. And they've negotiated kind of how many posts they have to share a month, how many stories they have to share a month. Some brands also want you to send the content to them so that they can approve it before you post. Those are the things that these sponsorship deals have. But that's how brand deals actually work. I also intend to get some type of marketing agency or branding agency that partners with these influencers and those brands. There's agencies out there that do that. I'm going to try to get one of them on the podcast so that we can talk about this more in depth. But that's the general way of how brand deals work. This episode of the Legal Paige podcast is sponsored by the Legal Paige Contract Shop. Need a new clause to add into your existing contract to protect yourself? In a new specific situation, the TLP Shop has you covered. Just go to thelegalpageshop.com to check out all our contracts, clauses, and bundles for your online small business. That's thelegalpageshop.com. So the fifth question you have is, what rules does Instagram have for posting giveaways on their site? So Instagram's owned by Facebook. Facebook and Instagram have very, very similar rules for posting giveaways. Facebook giveaways don't happen as much. I will just say that. I know Instagram happens way more just because billions of people are on Instagram. I think it's reached over 1 billion. So I think it's 1.5 or something like that at this current date. But Instagram, you just simply need to go to their promotional guidelines and their terms and conditions. You can literally Google it. And it's very clear. It states that you have to put a quote in the comment of your post, your giveaway post. Usually you want to put this towards the bottom, and it should say something like that the giveaway is in no way sponsored, endorsed, or administered by Instagram. Same with Facebook. It's not sponsored by Instagram. And then you want to ensure that, all risks are associated with the participants of the giveaway. You want to have no purchase necessary to enter language. Everyone needs to be of the age of majority, above 18 years old. There's always a little disclaimer that you want to put at the bottom of your Instagram post to comply with Instagram rules and regulations, as well as the United States rules and regulations surrounding giveaways and sweepstakes. That being said, I'm just going to make a little side note here. We do have a giveaway bundle on the Legal Paige shop, and in that bundle comes a template official rules so that you can modify and arrange those rules to your liking, but that you have the necessary clauses in there. And then you're going to post those official rules if you run a giveaway on your website somewhere, link that in your bio. I also included an affidavit for the winner. That's important for people who win a prize over $600 because they need to submit a W-9 to you. You need to file a 1099 to them at the end of the year. But that also, the affidavit allows you to post their name and stuff online that they won. And then the other thing that's included in the bundle is swipe copy. That is something that you would just copy and paste for this very specific purpose that we're talking about here, the rules that Instagram has for posting giveaways within their platform. So you can just copy the little paragraph that I have and you can post it in every single giveaway post. It needs to be in every single giveaway post, and it needs to be clear to your followers. You need to have the link in the bio. I talk about this in my how to run a legal online giveaway episode. So make sure you go back and check that out. Okay, the sixth question that I have is, how do we spot illegal or fake giveaways? Well, this is hard to answer, right? Because it'll depend on what the giveaway is, how much money it is. Is it a Tesla? Is it a trip around the world for your family? Is it $10,000? Is it, a little bit of office supplies from somebody who has 1,000 followers? So you have to do a little bit of work on your end as the consumer and the one who wants to participate in the giveaway. But you have to check out what the post says. Then you have to figure out what the giveaway rules say online. So you want to compare those two. Does what the post or the story, what they're asking you to do, does that coincide and accurately reflect what the official giveaway rules say? That's how I kind of outed the bucket list family on what was happening, because those two said very different things. And that was not clear to a lot of their average consumers. Many of their, like I've said in last week's episode, their previous followers may have known, but not their new followers. They had no idea. And thousands of people liked and shared. So it was clearly not clear. So when you spot an illegal giveaway, you really kind of also know that it's an illegal giveaway when there's like way too many steps. So usually there should be anywhere from like 1 to 5 steps to enter to win. I even think 3 max. You can have a couple bonus steps. Like if you want people to have bonus entries, that's always good. So I say like, follow me, like this post, and then boom, do something as the 3rd step. And then the 4th step can be a bonus entry. But that's only if they want to take the extra time to enter to win. But when there are like 10 to 15 steps to enter to win, in some jurisdictions, that can be actual consideration on behalf of the person entering to win. And that can make it an illegal giveaway. Like providing money is consideration, but time can also be consideration. And it just depends on the jurisdiction that this giveaway is hosted in. And then another way to spot an illegal or fake giveaway is after the giveaway has closed, make sure the person posts who wins, and then check to ensure that that person actually got their prize. This is like a lot of MacGyvering, and I'm like, maybe some of you want to do this. Who knows? I do, not in terms of like I go ask the person, but I will follow, because I'm MacGyvering all of these things right now. I don't know why. It's like my favorite pastime. This is just what I do lately. But larger influencers, you want to make sure that after the giveaway is closed, I will make sure that they post like, this is the giveaway winner. And then I'll I'll follow that person. I want to make sure they link them in their Instagram stories or their post or whatever. They should link them in both. It should be very clear that someone has won, and they should link the person who won. And then I always make sure that I follow through with the person that I followed, and I'll follow them like every day and make sure that they got their prize. And usually, you guys, this all goes smoothly. The influencer posts who win. A couple days later, the person is like, yay, I won. It came in the mail, or I got my gift card online, whatever it is. That person's usually really excited, so they'll post about it. A little more awkward and like legit MacGyvering would be you contact the person in like DMs and make a virtual friend and see if they've actually gotten the prize. So the reason that I mention that is because I've seen and heard in DMs from people over the past few weeks that there's been this like influencer doing a giveaway. I guess there was one with like a Chanel bag, and no one knew what happened when the giveaway closed. Like they were asking for likes and shares and do all these things and, tag your friends. But then the giveaway ended, and then the posts were deleted, and there was no mention of a winner, like nothing. The giveaway vanished. That is fishy. That is likely a scam. And that is how you would spot an illegal or fake giveaway. So there's your answer to that one. Number 7, what is a business's responsibility when it comes to working with influencers? So this is like a brand or a company that is asking an influencer to sponsor them. What are their responsibilities? So just flat out, if you're sponsoring like an actual giveaway, that's different. You want to make sure that the influencer has you tagged and you're in their official giveaway rules on being the sponsor of the giveaway, because they are legally obligated to post and disclose any of their sponsors or ads. But if you are just hiring an influencer to post for your company, regardless of these FTC disclosure rules, This is a big one that I want to get a marketing agent on the podcast for, or even an actual like company's agent who works specifically in like with these influencers. You just want to, as a brand or company, you want to make sure that you're running a legitimate brand campaign with them. The main thing that comes to mind is like Fire Festival. If you remember back to the Fire Festival incident, they had like a bunch of influencers sharing their content, all those orange squares. And then they had, of course, people had to share on their way down to the Bahamas. All these things happened. Then the festival never happened. Everyone got duped. And then all of the influencers had upset audiences. And then they also kind of got pulled into some legal stuff because they were supporting this fraudulent fire festival. So that is like a general example on making sure that you're running a legit campaign. Make sure that you have the products, make sure that you have the services that you are offering to the public available, and that they can get the discount code, that it's ready to go, those type of things. Also, make sure that your influencers are respecting the laws. And this is something that they would probably sign in their sponsorship contract. So they shouldn't be posting illegal photos. I know that there was also like some weird photo a while back. It wasn't weird. It was just illegal with influencers like laying in poppy fields on public lands. You can't do that. That's illegal. You can't like do things on some public lands as well. I know that there was like public activists that came out, public lands activists, and it created a lot of controversy surrounding this very specific influencer and the company that was sponsoring it. So just make sure that your influencers are respecting the laws, and that they are responsible for that. They are the ones that need to enforce that, and that you are, not held responsible for their actions. And the best way to do that as a brand, of course, is to get the content that they're going to post before. So they should be curating the content for the company to view and approve before it goes live to the public. That's the easiest way to ensure that you're not going to get in some type of legal sticky situation in the future. But businesses' responsibilities, of course, is comply with all of your state laws surrounding advertising and sponsorships and FTC disclosures when working with influencers, and then just make sure they sign off on that. The 8th question I have is there a legal age restriction to participate in giveaways? Yes, 18 years old, you need to be above the age of majority to win giveaways in most states. And then also be aware that some states don't allow you to participate in some giveaways for XYZ reasons. So you just want to check out your state's laws on those as a consumer if you're participating in a bunch of giveaways. That was a quick answer to that question. Question number 9, are there additional restrictions or guidelines you have to follow if you are a nonprofit doing a giveaway? Yes, totally. And this is very, very state dependent, like I said. So state laws govern business transactions for the most part, unless it involves interstate commerce. And then the feds come into play. And the FTC can come into play and other federal agencies. So the one thing that you need to know is when I say it's very state dependent, that's just because separation of powers, the states control these things. So an organization like a nonprofit org needs to make sure that their contests or their sweepstakes don't violate all kinds of legal regulations. So the Child Online Privacy Prevention Act, the CAN-SPAM Act, like I said, FTC regulations. I know some nonprofits do mailing contests as well, actual physical mail-in contests. And so just make sure that there's a Deceptive Mail Prevention and Enforcement Act that covers that. So you just want to, when you're a nonprofit, you have to, of course, go through some more hoops. I would contact an attorney in your state before you run some type of big contest or giveaway, because as a nonprofit, you probably have to get some type of approval through state regulations. And then as a nonprofit, just make sure that you're not confusing sweepstakes with true raffles. You have to buy a raffle ticket and to enter to win, say, a Toyota Tacoma. I don't know why I just thought of that, but I think I've bought a few raffle tickets from a nonprofit organization that was supporting, I don't know, some type of walk or marathon or something like that. And you have to register raffles oftentimes in like every single state when you require a donation from someone as a nonprofit. So just make sure that if you have some type of raffle, you're also following raffle registration laws for nonprofits. All right. The last question that I'm going to answer today is tax implications for giveaways. Now, I did talk about this a little bit on last week's episode, but I'm just going to follow it up here for all of you who may not have tuned in. The one thing that people don't know when they're entering giveaways, and I like to think about it as like The Price is Right, you know? If you have ever watched that, my grandma used to watch it all the time, and I loved watching it with her, but I will never forget. She always told me like, well, even if you won that, the final prize at the end, and you had like a $25,000 trip around the world and a car and all those things, she's like, you have to pay taxes on all of those. So oftentimes the winners just walk away with nothing because they don't have the money to pay for the taxes for what they just won. And it never really occurred to me what she was talking about. She's like, it doesn't matter. It's just a fun game. Like you don't actually get the prize. But it kind of makes sense now that I'm an attorney and I'm talking about these things, and I've worked with accountants on this, gotten their responses. I had a lot of accountants respond back to things regarding the giveaway issue that's happened over the past week or so. And the one thing to remember is if it is the prize value is over $600, you do have to file a 1099 form to the recipient. If it's over $5,000 in value, lots of states have specific requirements like posting a bond and such and registering the bond for this large valued prize. And then they sometimes even require you to, as the winner of this big prize, you have to make a 25% down tax payment on the prize before you can even take it home with you. So this is called a surety bond, and it's equivalent to like an insurance policy that guarantees the prize structure in the event the sponsor goes out of business. So states want to ensure that if you are sponsoring some type of like $30,000 giveaway, that you actually have the $30,000. So you have to like bond something with the state, a certain percentage of the award. And I'm sure there's other tax implications out there. If you're an accountant listening or other tax implications in your state, I would be really interested to hear what those are regarding giveaways and prizes. But just know that, you do probably have to pay some federal taxes. Remember, whatever income is received is income that you have to report to the IRS, and you're supposed to under federal law. Any type of income received, whether that's prizes, cash value, money from selling like items in your house. It's crazy. Like you're supposed to report all that stuff, even though people don't. But I'm required to tell you that you are supposed to report all that. And your accountant will tell you the same. So that's it, my friends. I answered 10 of your most frequent questions surrounding influencer responsibilities and online giveaways. Thank you guys so much for submitting those questions. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, it really was fun to get some questions and then me just kind of like answer them on the fly, add in some laws that I know about and my background and expertise in this realm. And thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode as well. It means a lot. If you tuned into this episode and you haven't already, I would suggest that you go back to the influencer responsibility episode that was last week. And then a couple weeks prior to that, we had the how to run a legal online giveaway episode. All three of these episodes, including this one, go hand in hand. So I would suggest that you listen to all of them. Thank you all so much. I will be here same time, same place next week. And you can listen into our new episodes. We're going to get into a few different topics now for the rest of the month. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Legal Paige podcast. See, I told you being legally legit isn't so scary. Be sure to visit thelegalpage.com for all show notes. And it would be super awesome if you could head over to iTunes and leave a review. Last but not least, don't forget to join my free Facebook group for unlimited legal and biz Q&A. Chat soon, Legal Pagers.